Okay, so on the first point that I'll be refuting, that GMOs do provide increased benefits. According to the Power of Labeling by the Huffington Post, despite biotechnology industry promises, none of the GMO genetically modified traits that have been on the market so far offer increased yield of drought tolerance or enhanced nutrition or any other benefit to consumers. When labeling that fails to inform the public, according to the Washington Post, studies of labeling laws in Netherlands and China have found that they didn't affect consumer behavior. Consumers still bought the same products that they normally would buy. They were just better informed. And the same goes for the labeling requirements that happen in France. Most people eating genetically modified foods safely and don't even know it. According to Eris Aziz and Samuel LeBlanc, who did a study on maternal and fetal exposure to pesticides, the metabolite of glufosinate was detected in 100% of maternal and umbilical cord blood samples and in 60% of non-pregnant women's blood samples. And this highlights that the metabolite breaks down easily and is more detectable and seems to easily cross the placenta and reaches the fetus. Glufosinate has also been shown in mouse embryos to cause growth retardation, increased death, and hypoplasia. And this was the first study of its kind to highlight the presence of pesticides associated with genetically modified foods in maternal, fetal, and non-pregnant women's blood. Cry1AB toxin, which is a Bt toxin that occurs in corn, was clearly detectable and crossed the placenta to the fetus. That the FDA requires labeling. Labeling for nutrition facts have only been around since the 1990s. In 1990, the Nutrition Labeling and Education Act was passed, required all packaged food to bear nutrition labeling and all health claims for food to be consistent with terms defined by the Secretary of Health and Human Services. It's only been around for some 20-odd years, and and there's still more work that needs to be done. And currently, the Food and Drug Administration requires labeling only for allergens and other toxicities. It doesn't require labeling for things that could potentially be harmful to pregnant women or children. With labeling is very expensive. An impartial consulting firm did a study in 2001 for the United Kingdom Food Standards Agency and found that genetically modified labeling would increase a household's annual food spending by only 0.01 to 0.17%. When adjusted to inflation and the U.S. currency, this was only an increase of 33 cents to $5.58 in 2010. And according to an FDA labeling cost model, the price for graphic design services do not differ substantially if additional changes are made because of regulatory requirement. So if it's printed with nutrition labels, it won't bring the cost of food up higher. And Professor Joe Cummins of the University of Western Ontario told the EPA that there is evidence that Bt, or bacterial toxin, will impact directly human health through damage to the ileum, which is the final portion of the small intestine, and it connects it to the large intestine. And this can produce chronic illnesses such as fecal incontinence or flu-like symptoms of the digestive system. With that, there would have to be a separation.
Yeah, you're out of time.